Hi guys, my name is Calvin and I'm the theorist for our research paper, Bargain Crime, and Empirical Analysis on California's Proposition 47. Our paper explores the implication of California's Proposition 47 with consideration to rational choice theory on criminal behavior and the effects of risk aversions on large theft. So Proposition 47, also known as the Safe Neighborhood and Schools Act, was passed by California voters on November 4th, 2014. The act is actually one of several acts passed in order for the California Department of Corrections to comply with an earlier ruling made by the U.S. Supreme Court to address the issue of overcrowding prisons managed by the California Department of Corrections. It became a constitutional issue when two class action lawsuits, Plata v. Brown and Coleman v. Brown, argued that overcrowding within the prisons made it difficult to supply adequate medical and mental care to inmates, which violated their Eighth Amendment rights. So to accomplish this, Prop 47 made three broad changes to the felony sentencing laws in California. First, it reclassified certain theft and drug possessions offenses from felonies to misdemeanors. Second, it gave defendants that are currently serving sentences for felony offenses that would have qualified as misdemeanor under the new mandate the opportunity to petition for resentencing. And third, it allows defendants who have finished their sentence for felony convictions that would have qualified as a misdemeanor under the new mandate to petition to reclassify as a misdemeanor. So the felonies that were reclassified under Prop 47 were shoplifting, forgery, insufficient funds, petty theft, receiving stolen property, petty theft with a prior, and some drug possession offenses. It doesn't apply to a person with a prior conviction. However, if it pertained to marijuana. Previously, crimes related to theft of property exceeding $450 met with the criteria of larceny theft, and it was punished as a felony crime. However, with Prop 47, the threshold for larceny theft was increased to $950, while decreasing the punishment by reducing the sentence and the fine. Criminals now had the opportunity to steal up to $950 while receiving a lower level punishment of a misdemeanor instead of a felony crime like before. So for our hypothesis, the null hypothesis that we're testing states that the larceny rate pre-Prop 47 should be the same as the larceny rate post-Prop 47. What this means is that even with the decrease in punishment and potential increase in monetary gains, the changes wouldn't be significant in larceny theft. Our alternative hypothesis states that the larceny rate pre-Prop 47 is not the same as the larceny rate post-Prop 47. What that means is that Prop 47 does have a significant impact on the larceny thefts. All right, so the study of criminal behavior is actually a pretty popular subject in other social science disciplines like sociology and psychology. For our research, we do borrow some ideas from sociologists like the rational choice approach to help decipher the behavior of a criminal. From McCarthy, the rational choice approach offers a theoretical orientation of explaining how individuals make rational choices. It assumes that all sane people are capable of making such choices, but recognizes that they often do not. What that means is that under certain circumstances, anyone who's rational can make a choice, but they also understand that they shouldn't do it. This leads to our next assumption that criminals understand risk perception and that they are value maximizers in the sense that they will take the opportunity where they will receive the most gains with the least risk, or that they view gains and risks as inversely correlated. We also take in consideration that criminals are likely to consider several adverse factors before committing such offenses. The factors being considered are the probability of success, the reward if successful, the probability of capture, and the penalty if caught. These variables are vital because it now allows us to quantify the approach taken by a criminal when they rationalize whether or not to commit a crime. And we can now test if Prop 47 is a catalyst that affected the rising larceny theft. One of the assumptions in this paper considers that criminals to behave rationally when they are presented with a different opportunity created by Prop 47. Setting a definition for rationality makes it easier for us to measure and compare during our empirical process. Rationality, in this sense, means the criminal's choice has to be complete, transitive, and monetarily. When the criminal is behaving rationally, they have to consider the whole scenario and understand all the outcomes before they complete an action. By being transitive, they also have to understand that if they prefer I to J and J to K, they'll prefer I to K. The concept represents rationality because it allows the criminals to make informed decisions where they are averse to a certain extent and understand the payoffs. In theory, when Prop 47 increases the monetary thresholds for lucking theft and decrease the punishment received, the rational criminal will see this as an opportunity to commit more lucking theft until they reach the threshold. Even then, their actions might change in regards to how they perceive potential danger of punishment by committing larceny theft. If law enforcement officials are not enforcing due to the reduced punishment, the rational criminal could potentially see it as a drop in probability of conviction and pursue more larceny theft compared to other crimes. So our general approach to the hypothesis is based on Becker and his utilization of neoclassical economic theories to quantify criminal behaviors. His ideas affected the field by assessing a criminal's behavior from a demand-supply approach, with a consideration regarding the cost of an individual's action. Becker introduced a function where we could see the potential effects of different social variables on total offense committed. Within the function above, O stands for the number of offenses, P stands for the probability of convictions per offense, F stands for the punishment per offense, and U represents other influences. The function then is derived into two models that explains the causality between probability and punishment per offense with the total sum of offense committed. As you can see, as both P and F increase, we can see that O, which is for offenses, gets smaller, which correlates with the general consensus that when the probability, conviction, and punishment increases, the overall number of offenses decreases. The interpretation is also valid for the opposite, whereas P and F decreases, then O gets bigger. So when the probability of conviction and punishment decreases, then there should be more offenses committed. Since Prop 47 has a direct effect regarding probability of conviction and punishment, we can test and see if larceny theft rates increases or stays the same after the implementation.
Hello, my name is Scott Hookinson, and I served as the econometrician for Group 4. To test the null hypothesis, which states that Prop 47 did not have an increase on the crime, I have broken up the hypothesis into three components, as decided by their frequency, as well as the two main categories that larceny theft falls under. The first category being petty theft, which is a misdemeanor. We expect petty theft to increase as the number of crimes that can now be considered as petty theft has increased. Number two, grand theft. We are not sure how grand theft will behave. It depends on whether or not the new value that counts as grand theft is binding. And the third component is shoplifting. It is a high frequency crime that we would expect to increase as the main component of larceny theft. The data we are using comes from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department database. The LASD was selected as it is the largest sheriff department in the nation, as well as the third largest police agency. Furthermore, the LASD dataset covers 59 cities across LA County to account for differences in population density and infrastructure. The timeline for our data is from 2010 to 2019, with our t-test capturing the daily counts of incidents from 2014 through 2015. I use the following methods to examine our data: descriptive statistics, graphs of timelines, and comparative means tests. Beginning with petty theft. Based on the t-test, we reject the null hypothesis at the 99% confidence level and assert that petty theft did increase following the implementation of Prop 47. Looking at the graph, we see a strong seasonal pattern with increased peaks following Prop 47. The two horizontal reference lines show the change in the means following 2015. It is estimated that Prop 47 increased the annual rates of petty theft by nearly 1,000 incidents. Moving on to grand theft. We failed to reject the null hypothesis that grand theft increased as a result of Prop 47. This outcome indicates that the new threshold for felony larceny theft is not a binding value, as most crimes must exceed a value of $950. The plot displaying the daily counts of grand theft show a single reference line of the combined mean pre and post Prop 47. There does not appear to be any visual changes in the variance as well as any seasonal pattern differencing. In a surprise outcome, we failed to reject the null hypothesis when measuring the change in shoplifting. This was a surprise to us, as we figured shoplifting would have increased due to the accessibility of stores, as well as the prevalence of shoplifting pre and post Prop 47. As you can see from the plots that show the daily counts of shoplifting, there does seem to be a change in the variance of shoplifting post Prop 47. We do also see less seasonal peaks, so it appears that the means comparison test may not actually capture a change that did occur after Prop 47. This would take further research. Although the t-test recorded an increase in petty theft, there may not be enough evidence to definitively show the degree that Prop 47 influenced these rates. For this reason, we conclude that a deeper analysis with a larger dataset is required before a definitive claim can be made regarding the causality of why petty theft increased. What you can see here is that the increase began around 2010 with the first spike before the dashed line. The dashed line indicates the passage of AB 109, the predecessor to Prop 47. The two solid lines with the center line in the middle is our time frame for the means comparison test. You can see that the rates began increasing around 2014 and continued throughout 2015. Therefore, it is unclear that any change occurred after Prop 47. Despite an unsatisfactory conclusion regarding petty theft, our report has uncovered surprising evidence regarding vehicle burglary. Vehicle burglary was not part of the list of crimes that were reclassified under Prop 47. Therefore, many current reports and articles that document the research have not accounted for this increase in crime. What we found is that not only did crime increase, it increased at a rate that was the highest statistical difference. When examining the daily counts of vehicle burglary, we see that the amplitude of the seasonal pattern changes as well as the frequency changes. We see far more vehicles passing the 30 vehicles a day, as well as even the 40 vehicles a day post Prop 47. Furthermore, this increase appears to be a dramatic inflection beginning immediately after Prop 47. This surge lasted for 2 years till its peak of 1,500 monthly incidents, a 52% increase from December of 2014. Additionally, it's important to note that vehicles that were burglarized as related to gang activity has steadily decreased throughout our timeline and does not appear to be a factor influencing the rates. In conclusion, we reject the null hypothesis as the difference in larceny theft following Prop 47 is significant. More research is required to tease out the causality of Prop 47 on petty theft. And vehicle burglary warrants additional research with plausible causality.